certainly know that I am Jehovah.
A centrifuge. How the heretics, I have taken it upon myself to explain the Jehovah Witness blood doctrine in less than 5 minutes. It's very complicated, it's a religious explanation, and if you listen to the end, you will learn about the loopholes that is possible to exploit while you loyally serve Jehovah God. So, it's important to remember, I'm not a crazy person, I'm one of Jehovah Witnesses, and I'm learned in the theocratic school how to use illustrations. And this is what Jesus would have done if he was alive today. He would use ketchup. So, why don't Jehovah Witnesses take blood transfusions? Because it's in the Bible, you shouldn't eat blood. And what if you cut it up in pieces using a filter? Because it's in the Bible specifically that you can use a filter to filter blood. Then you will get two main components, fluids and solids. But Jehovah wants you, and this is very important, to find a doctor that uses a centrifuge. Because then you get different main components. You get fluids, solids, and white blood cells and pellets, called in English. Anyway, it's basically the same, but you get 4. And Jehovah Witnesses cannot take blood. They cannot take the main blood components, but they can take fractions. So if you take this 50% and cut it in half, that would be 25% of the blood. But that would not be a main fractions, while the white blood cells is a main component. So you can take 25%, but not 1%. The reason for this is because, according to the governing body of Jehovah Witnesses, when a mother carries a child, the blood doesn't go from the mother to the child. The main components does not go from the mother to the child. But some fractions do. So fractions is okay according to the governing body. They are also autodidact scientists, by the way, so I'm in good company. Anyway, from the mother don't go any main components to the child, unless in breast milk. Then you get white blood cells straight to the baby after they're born. The governing body don't know about this. If you're watching, please leave a comment. However, for some reason, if you talk about this to the governing body or at the Kingdom Hall, you will actually be disfellowship for being an apostate, because I don't know, it's something to do with centrifuge. Because if you use something else than a centrifuge, like a filter that's in the Bible, you only get 2 components. 50-50, basically the same. And then you could take from the solids, cut it up in fractions, and if you use a filter, I'm not a scientist really, but you know, white blood cells would be a fractions if you would use a filter, but it's a main component when you use a centrifuge. And the funny thing is, this is actually in the Bible that you can use a filter to filter blood and drink it. Listen to this.
The first 3 plagues strike both the Egyptians and the Hebrews. Plague 1. Water is turned into blood.
So according to the Bible mythology, the first plague was that there were no water for 7 days. And this was both for the Egypts, the terrible people that deserved to lose their children, all of them, and Jehovah Witnesses, the Israelites, the wonderful people. There was the same plague for all of them. And they had to dig for water. So water from the Nile would be filtered through sand, and whatever ended up on the other side would be classified as fluid blood. So if the main components from blood were extracted not from a centrifuge but from a filter, then it would basically be okay to drink the plasma, according to the Bible. This is what Jehovah Witnesses call apostasy, and that's why it's very important for you not to watch the rest of the video, because it's getting worse. Because some doctors said, well, what if you take the blood and you put it away and store it, and then you will get your own blood back? Then Jehovah Witnesses say that, no, it's against our faith, and according to the literature, it's against my personal belief to store this, because it says that if you don't use it, it should be poured out. Actually, it doesn't say that, but it says in the literature, if you don't use it, it should be poured out. In the Bible, it only says that it should be poured out, but this is important to remember. In the literature, it says that the Bible says that if you don't use it, you should pour it out. In the Bible, it says that you should pour it out, but never mind. So if I take my blood, put it in the storage, then Jehovah will kill me for violating my personal conscience. But, so you can't do that. However, since the governing body decided that it's okay to use a centrifuge to get 4 parts, and you can cut this up, you get fractions. And you can't take fractions. So what you do is that you take your blood, someone donates blood, take it to a storage facility where they store the blood, and they cut it up in small pieces in a scientific manner. And then a Jehovah Witness can get fractions. But now is when it becomes very complicated, because there's no rule in the Jehovah Witness religion that you take blood, cut it up into all the fractions there is, and then you take all the fractions at once. You're actually allowed to do that as a Jehovah Witness. You separate all the blood into the 4 favorite main components. You split them up to even smaller pieces, and then you take all of it. That's okay. You can take all the fractions at once, but you cannot take blood. So if there's a Jehovah Witness watching this, I have one question. First, do you want to advance science? Because I run out of ketchup and I do have a Patreon page. But if you don't want to advance science and just explain to me the Jehovah Witness donate blood, it get taken to a storage facility, they cut up by small pieces, and then the elder needs this blood, get all of the blood, survive thanks to the donation. Then when it come home to the congregation, the elder that took all the blood will disfellowship the person who donated blood. That would be my question. Why is it that Jehovah Witnesses will disfellowship a person that donate blood, while they themselves are willing to accept this blood? If I donated blood, I would be disfellowshipped. But if Geoffrey Jackson would accept fractions of that blood and I would save Geoffrey Jackson's life, there would not be a thank you. I would be disfellowshipped. So if you're a Jehovah Witness watching this, please explain. It's okay if you think that blood is the symbol of life, so I rather lose my life than to disrespect life. If you think that makes sense, good for you. However, can you explain for me why it's okay to disfellowship someone that donates blood, while you will not be disfellowshipped if you use this blood to save your life? Please explain this to me.
When you seem trapped in a corner by life's problems, do not give up. The God who parted the Red Sea can provide escape for you too.